President Biden delivered remarks at Mount Airy Church in Philadelphia on Sunday. It's a black church, and there were no busloads, get this, no busloads of white people wearing MAGA hats like when Donald Trump gave a speech in Detroit to try to fake us all out and pretend like he has support from the black community, which the media then spreads. I just want to show you the contrast between President Biden's speech in Philadelphia at a black church and Donald Trump's speech in Detroit, where Donald Trump pretended to be speaking at a black church. The contrast here could not be more telling about the character of these individuals. Just first and foremost, take a look at the audience right here. This is Trump's audience. Now, this is the audience that President Biden spoke in front of. Let me just show you. This is just so you can see a broader kind of camera pan out. This is the audience that attended when Trump gave a speech. Play this clip in Detroit. Let's play it.
All those galleries in front of every picture who painted what period it represented. And always listening to all kinds of different music. And really supplemented my education.
And by the way, that church where Donald Trump gave a speech at in Detroit, that he basically just rented out the church. It was a church embroiled in litigation where its congregants had filed actions against the pastor, and there's all these kind of problems there. Meanwhile, let me just show you the kind of camera pan out of the audience in President Biden's speech from this past weekend in Philadelphia. Let me show you this. Now, at the Trump event in Detroit, in the place of worship, they were chanting the name Trump, Trump, Trump. Play this clip. Just think about that. It's just shocking to watch that that's happening just in a place of worship or any place at all, screaming Donald Trump's name. In the church where President Biden spoke, it was all about loving your neighbors, supporting each other. Here, just take a look at this clip. Play it.
Anybody glad to be in the house of the Lord another day? Why don't you smile at your neighbor and say, I'm glad to see you here today. Smile at your other neighbor. Tell them, I'm so glad to see you here today. Make sure it's your best smile. Show all your teeth. Tell them, I'm so glad to see you here today. Come on, and then put your hands together.
Then when Donald Trump pretends that he's speaking in front of black audiences or purports to speak in front of black audiences, the line that Donald Trump gives over and over again is he says that the black community likes him now because he has been indicted. That's what Donald Trump says. He goes, the fact that he's been criminally indicted, he says, is the reason why black people support him, which is just incredibly racist and despicable. But here's what Donald Trump's message is. Play this clip.
And then I got indicted a second time and a third time and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. It's been pretty amazing. And
by the way, when Donald Trump goes across the country, he gives speeches like that, and he brings on stage with him people like Chef G and Sleepy Hollow. These are individuals who were recently indicted in a 100+ count indictment as purported leaders of the Crips. They've been charged with 12 attempted murders, 1 murder, and then Donald Trump will say things to them like, oh, I like your grill, I like your teeth, oh. Here, play this clip.
I appreciate you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. That's where I like those teeth. I want to find out where you did. I got to get my teeth like that.
Donald Trump also brings on stage with him in order to appeal to the black vote. He brings on stage like registered sex offenders. He brings on stage Lawrence Taylor. And he has the same people who are like MAGA operatives follow him around event to event so he can claim that he has, black support. And compare that, though, to President Biden's speech in Philadelphia at Mount Airy's church. Just take a look at President Biden's speech right here. Let's play it.
The way in Delaware, I attended morning mass in my church and head to Sunday services at black churches, as I said early on. I've always felt the power of your faith in good times and in tough times. The fact is, as Scripture says, all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Our purpose is to serve others. That's our purpose. To know everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity and respect. To know faith without works is dead. We're all called to be doers of the world. In this nation, that means keeping our eyes on the North Star, the very idea of America, that we're all created equal in the image of God and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect our entire lives. We've never fully lived up to that, but we've never fully walked away from it either. And that's because of you and generations before you who led the church from slavery to freedom, always praying, always believing that joy cometh in the morning. You've never given up. In my life, and as your president, I've tried to walk my faith. To get us through the pandemic that claimed 1 million loved ones and left 8 million people with an empty chair at dinner or breakfast because of someone they lost. To ensure that the economy has the lowest black unemployment and more black small businesses in decades. To rebuild and ensure black America has a peace of mind that comes with health care for everybody. To ensure you can follow your dreams without the burden of student debt. To make housing affordable, help more black families build wealth and pass it on to future generations. To keep our communities safe by getting weapons of war off our streets. To give hate no safe harbor. While there are those who want to erase history, Kamala and I want to make it. Because black history is American history. Of course, there's more to do to deliver jobs and justice. There's more to do. But above all, we need to protect our rights, the rights of all Americans, to make sure democracy works for you. Folks, I know with every fiber of my being, I know I won't look like I'm 40 years old, but I've been around a little bit. The Bishop and I were talking about that. It's heck turning 40. Well, all kidding aside, I've been doing this a long time, and I, honest to God, have never been more optimistic about America's future if we stick together. I really mean it.
I just want to show you what the pastor at President Biden's speech said about President Biden. These words are, I think, just very powerful and accurate. Here, play this clip.
Let's understand something. I don't know why it is that you want to make an issue of the president and his condition with stammering and not being able at certain times to bring forth words, while another person lies fluently and you never challenged his lies.
And meanwhile, while President Biden is objectively, he's older, but we should respect those who are older. I don't know when it's become acceptable, I guess under Trump, who's basically the same age, though, as President Biden, for the media to be like ageist. Like, it's despicable, just like mocking people for their age. But, sure, President Biden's a little bit, he's older. Yes, he stutters. Yes, I mean, all of that's true. But at the end of the day, President Biden's words are thoughtful. He's delivered for the people. He's talking about democracy and bringing us together. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who goes into places of worship. Here's another clip I'm going to show you of a church that Donald Trump spoke at, where he encourages the kids and the congregants, or the people who are there for this event, to curse. And he starts to lead a chant of curse words in a church. Here, play this clip.
I won't say it because I don't like using the word bullshit in front of these beautiful children. So I won't say it. I will not say it. But this thing allows millions of people.
And sure, you might be saying, well, look, Trump cursing in a church is probably the least of his problems, but that's pretty telling. If that's the least of your problems, that you go around and start cursing in churches and encouraging kids to start cursing, could you imagine if President Biden went to a church and just started leading curse chants? We don't have to imagine. We know what would happen based on the coverage over the past few weeks. I mean, by the way, Donald Trump then went to an event after he spoke at the Detroit church where they had banners that says white boy summer on them, white boy summer, and they had people waving white boy summer banners. But yes, I get you. Trump cursing in churches is probably on the lower end of his list of being found liable for sexual assault, being a convicted felon, being found liable for civil fraud, leading an insurrection, saying he's going to be a dictator on day one. But still, I think it shows you his lack of character. And to me, moral character is everything when we're talking about the highest position in our country. And then I just want to show you this too. Like, this is in New Orleans. This is Vice President Kamala Harris. And here she is at the Essence event. First off, just take a look at the crowd here that's here for Vice President Harris. And here's what she had to say at this event. Play this clip.
Sadly, the press has not been covering it as much as they should in proportion to the seriousness of what just happened when the United States Supreme Court essentially told this individual who has been convicted of 34 felonies that he will be immune from essentially the activity he has told us he is prepared to engage in if he gets back into the White House. Understand what we all know. In 122 days, we each have the power to decide what kind of country we want to live in. Understand what we know. When there has been a full-on intentional attack against hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights. When I talk about the family that raised me, yes, they took me in a stroller as they were marching and shouting for justice, knowing that justice will not be achieved unless we are prepared to march and shout and fight for it. And one of the ways we do that is through our vote.
And look, that's what the media should be covering here. And I think when you see the contrast as well, it really kind of brings it out. Trump's fake stunts, fake black churches with white MAGA supporters who were there, and President Biden's speech at an actual black church in Philadelphia talking about love and compassion, bringing people together, faith, hope. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Thanks for watching.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.